Hey guys, and welcome to Make Something Mondays. Today we're continuing from last week's Make Something Monday when we made our own marshmallow fondant. So you're going to need that marshmallow fondant and try to let it sit out of the refrigerator for a little while. Let it get to at least almost room temperature. It's going to be pretty hard, and that's exactly what you want. You're going to need a few other supplies. I use what I call a rose tool, but I'm not certain what this is actually called. I'll try to look that up for you guys. But I use this to make roses. And see how it has a rose petal look to each end of the flower? We're also going to make leaves. And I use a tool for that as well. The next thing you're going to definitely need is what we call a bone tool. This can be purchased at Michael's or any other craft or hobby store like Hobby Lobby or whatever local store you have in your area. I highly suggest giving as much business to local stores as possible. I love mom and pop places. I use just a simple piece of foam that I purchased at Michael's in the cake decorating section. These are also thinner layers of foam. They're not absolutely necessary, but if you like to have them, you'll see why I use at least this one as the video goes by, but you don't need them. This is if you have a project that might slip or slide. So if I'm working on the foam, which I will be doing in this video, I'll sit the foam onto this actually feels like rubber, but this little rubber piece of cloth. And as I'm working on it, I don't have to worry about as much sliding as I would if I set it directly onto my cutting board. And I'm using that because I am using the marble cutting board. You're also going to need powdered sugar, and lots of it. You're going to be using this for dusting, so if you have a dusting bag, that would be very helpful. I have one, I'm not sure where I put it, but like I said, it's not one of those things you have to have. If you have cheesecloth, put a little powdered sugar in a cheesecloth, tie it up, and turn it into a little bag. You'll then just dot it in the areas where you're going to work with your fondant. It helps your fondant from getting sticky. Another thing that you're going to need for today's project is your icing color. I use icing colors on fondant to change the color of the fondant that we have here that's totally white. We're going to turn it each piece several different colors. Today I'm going to be working with yellow, blue, black, and green. Since the flowers on my mother's cake are going to be blue and white because that's my mom's favorite colors, these are the first. Blue will probably be the first color that we'll play around with. But let me go ahead and show you how to get started making your roses. Okay guys, so we're back. All I'm doing now is putting a little bit of powdered sugar onto my work surface, which in this case is my cutting board. And I've already put on my gloves, which I always do, especially if I'm baking for someone else. Even if it's my mom. Okay, so now I'm going to unwrap some of my fondant and take out a nice big hunk. Oh, and like I said, this stuff is going to be thick, okay? And very hard to work with. So the longer you let it sit, the better. The first step that I want you to know about, I'm going to set that fondant back over there. Make sure that your hands are dusted lightly with powdered sugar. Makes it easier for you to work with your fondant without it sticking to you. Now, the first thing that we're going to make is the inside of our flower. Take a piece of fondant. It does not need to be a very big piece. Make it look similar to a piece of, you'll see a lot of people say a Hershey's Kiss, but it's actually more like a piece of candy corn. Now, looking at this piece here, you notice it's pretty big. And what we need is something that's pretty small. Imagine this will be the inside of your flower. Okay, guys, so I have quite a few of the white ones done. But I'm also going to have blue flowers on the cake, and some of them are going to be mixed blue and white. So I figured it'd be best if I had some blue insides also. Now, all you're going to do to dye your fondant is take a simple toothpick and your icing color. Your icing color can be purchased at Michael's or your favorite craft store. Also, Hobby Lobby. And I'm pretty sure you can grab some on Amazon also. This one cost me, and this is a nice size jar, which they didn't have at Michael's in my area. So I went to, I hate this, I think it's it would be considered a mom and pop hobby store. But I love this store because they have everything Wilton there. And Wilton is just tops and cake decorating supplies here. So, of course, I want to go there. Especially since they offer the same variety in bigger containers. And for only $2. Okay. All I'm going to do at this point is take a little of the gel and wipe it onto the fondant from the toothpick. When I'm done with this toothpick, of course, I'll throw it away. Have you ever seen those cakes where it's like the marble cake coloring on the cake? This is all they're doing. They'll either put this, if you're using buttercream, put a little bit in the buttercream and don't mix it well. Just go ahead and ice the cake. Well, it's the same way with fondant. If you want a marble look, you'll put a little bit of fondant, a little bit of color on your fondant, and then spread it out and lay it on your cake. You can do this with the flowers also. If you want to have a flower with the marble look, which I'm thinking of actually doing that on my mom's cake, then all you have to do is not mix it in all that well. Now, and look, see my gloves? I don't really have a lot of blue there. I have a little bit here, so it's kind of hard to tell with my nail polish. There's like a little dot of blue there. And as you use your fondant, you'll know your hands will heat this stuff up, and you'll use more powdered sugar than you will in the beginning when it's still kind of cold. Okay. My hands are the culprit, not the board. Okay. So, we've got our fondant mixed very well. This is the color that we've ended with, because again, I'm using sky blue, not your normal blue. So I'll just start tearing off little pieces and making those into balls. Okay guys, so I have all the insides of my flowers done. I have 9 of the blue and 9 of the white. So it's going to give me 18 options for flowers. I may not need that many, but out of those 18, I should have some good ones. This tray you can also purchase at Michael's, but I really suggest using egg cartons. Lay plastic wrap on the inside of the egg carton, and then sit these inside of them. I'm going to work on another little decoration piece that's going to go on the cake. The first part of this piece is going to be white. So, we're going to start off with our white fondant. And I'm just rolling it around to get it to loosen up just a little bit, because like I said, when you first get your fondant out, it's going to be a tough one. Okay, the first thing you're going to need is 2 little balls. 2 balls. I'm hoping you can see that. Okay, now we're going to take our bone tool, which I've just lightly rubbed around in some powdered sugar. Or in some areas it's referred to as icing sugar. Just gently tap it, don't go all the way down. So you have a little bit of a dip inside of your ball. Now take the opposite end of your bone tool and just kind of smooth it out a little bit. You want to pinch it towards the end and use just the tip of this to help it stay open. This one is still a little bit big, so I think I'll redo that one. Let's stick with the one that we know is the correct size. You're pulling it straight down like this. After we take a little of this fondant away, will be to create the body of the bee. For that, we're going to need yellow fondant. So I'll go ahead and start the dyeing process, and I'll be right back. Okay guys, I was going to show you how to make the edible glue that I have here, which is a clear thick liquid that you use to glue your sugar paste or fondant or whatever it is you're using. This is how you will adhere those edible features to your cake or to each other. You'll see as we go along. This recipe is very simple, but I needed to go ahead and make it not on the video but separately because it has to sit for at least overnight. What you'll need is 2 tablespoons of warm water. To those 2 tablespoons of warm water, you will add 1/4 teaspoon of Tylose powder. And this is Tylose powder. And you get that at your cake supply store. Okay, so I've cut out some of the petals. And again, I just used this cutter. Okay. The first step is to just mash gently the center of your flower. Okay. These will make cute little flowers. I just can't think of the name of them. If you just put a little colorful something in the middle. But we want roses. So at this point, you'll just take your bone tool and gently, and for some reason today, I don't know if it's because my house is a little warm or what, but my fondant is being extra sticky this morning. But you just kind of roll around in circles gently so as not to tear the petals. And this is going to extend out your petal and make very cute roses. And you're going to do this with each and every petal. Okay, so I have a few petals all done. And I wanted to show you guys some of the changes that I made. I'm not sure if you can see that. But I took one of these, and you guys have seen me use this before. The little styrofoam thing before. In some of my craft projects. And that's because I use the noodle for some of everything. They're really good for holding the rose petal pieces. Another thing, I'm sorry, the rose centers. But another thing that you guys notice that I've done is I stuck a toothpick into the bottom of them. Okay? And the toothpick is because they were sitting in there, kind of doing a melting thing in the tray. that I had for them, and I definitely didn't want that to happen. And I normally do them on toothpicks. That way, when I want to put them onto the cake, I just stick the toothpick into the cake, and it's already got the rose on it. But these are going to be like a flat bed of roses, so I didn't think I needed to put them on a toothpick. But hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I think I'll just stick with that. Okay, so my camera's memory card was full, so I'm going to redo this for you guys so you can see it. We put a little glue here for the base, and then you want to have a little of the same edible glue upward a little bit on your petal so that you can get it to stick really well. Okay, I was trying to show you guys from a different angle and all this other kind of stuff, but I tend to mess up things when I'm trying to do it for the camera. So we're going to do this the way I normally do it. Just stick it right in the center, okay? And this, oh, there we go. First petal up, wrap it around the middle of the flower. Skip one petal, come up and pick up the next one. Again, we're wrapping it around, okay? Skip that petal, come over here, and wrap again, okay? As you start to overlap, you may see a need for a little bit of glue, so don't be afraid to grab it, okay? Over here, we'll have this petal, which, if you notice, is going to start pulling away from the center a little bit, which is great. That's the look that you want for your first row of flowers, okay? You're going to repeat the same exact method where you're skipping a petal, and you can do as many as you want. I don't think that there's a real rule to it, but I'm going to do about 3 layers, like this being my first, and then 2 more, and I'll show it to you in just 1 second. Okay guys, so remember the bees that I was telling you that we can make with our... Ooh, I'm so liberal with the glue here, it's ridiculous. Okay, I was telling you guys, earlier in the video about bees, and I'm going to just take my gloves off and do the bees because I'm telling you, I'm having a tough time with those particular type of gloves. I would not at all suggest using those when you're doing the decorating process. Do not use that kind of, like the hospital surgical type gloves or whatever. Those kind of latex gloves, I would not suggest those. I would highly suggest using the clear, thinner glove because this stuff makes it oh so hot in your hands, and it really does not do you any favors when you're trying to do your fondant, when you're trying to make images out of your fondant. And nobody's gonna eat these bees, so it doesn't matter if I touch them. See here, I just recut some black fondant and I'll just lay it on. And don't worry, like if you have powdered sugar on your bee like this, because you can just dust it with that glue. And everything will be just fine. So I'm going to make this the head of my bee. And in order to make the eyes, what I'm going to do is just kind of poke him in the eye. Well, poke him in the non-existent eye with my bone tool. to create eyes. Now, at this step, we have 2 dents, for eyes there. Don't focus, please. Okay. To my daughter, don't focus, because it'll definitely adjust itself at the wrong time. Then take a little piece of black fondant that you might have just laying there and mash it into the eye sockets of your bee. Oh, that's not a good piece of fondant. Let's see here. Let me redo the hole a little bit deeper. Okay. Then take the fondant ball and pop it into his eye. You know what? And if that sucker don't stay, glue it into his eye. There we go. And then just kind of tap them smooth a little bit there. If you want, you can give your bee little antennas. That'll work also. I actually happen to have, I gotta show you guys my can. Right here. My daughter took it from me. But my little Whitman's can, it used to have chocolates in it, but I put all my kind of tiny stuff in it. But if you have some of these little stamens for making like the little flowers, you know, little stamens like this that will go inside of your flower, you could always fold these and stick them into the head of your bee and give your bee a really cool antenna. You want to stick it all the way down in there before you open it like I did. Okay, there we go. And what is a bee without a proper stinger? So just come back here to the bee's butt, do the same thing. Poor bee got violated, but yeah, you're gonna do the same thing. Just kind of get your little piece of fondant, roll it a little bit between your fingers. Oh yes, and I want to glue that first because I'm not having that same problem again. Again, roll between your fingers like that to kind of give it a pointy edge. Try not to break it like I just did. My silly self. And I broke it. But it's okay because you can kind of just shape it out with your fingers, which is a lot easier without the fingernails. But see, here's your bee. That's one bee with 3 lines. I don't think I'm going to keep that little guy. He's not exactly cute to me. But, and I've done much better bees. And of course you want to give him a smile. If you want to make it a lady bee, you can always put in some red fondant for the lips, because that works as well. I'll show you another cake I did with the much better bee at the end of the video or on my page. I'm not sure where I'm going to stick that yet. But that's it for today on Tamona's Tips. Can't wait to see you next Monday. Not sure what I'm going to do, but I'm pretty sure it'll be fun. Happy spring.